what was your position at NASA? And give us an overview of what MILA is and how it works with the space program. And also, why was it the most unique communication center, or why was it one of the most unique communication centers versus all the other ones?
Okay, so MILA was a tracking station at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. So
Okay.
we fell under a NASA contract under Goddard Space Flight Center up in Maryland. We were called the Spaceflight Tracking and Data Network. It was built back in the mid-'60s, mostly for Apollo, initially for Apollo. They opened sites from around the world to try to cover as much area as they could.
Okay.
And we provided all telemetry support, so transmitting to the vehicles and receiving back from the vehicles. And the reason that MILA was special was because we were at the Kennedy Space Center. So we had to handle all pre-launch testing, launch support. Nobody else could do any of that. So we were the first ones. We were the first ones to deal with any vehicle that was going to be launched that we were supporting.
Wow. And what time frame did you work there?
The first time I was there from 1973 to 1988.
Okay.
And what I did was I worked in what they would call the front end of the system. So I worked in a section called USB, stands for Unified S-Band. And we handled everything from the antennas outside, the big S-Band dishes, all the way into the building, transmitters, receivers, demodulation equipment, modulation equipment, and command data going up to the vehicles. So we were in the front end. We were the first ones to receive it, the signals.
All right. And to my understanding, your father also worked there before you worked there when MILA actually started. So what was his role, and what did he work with in the Apollo program?
Okay, so we lived in New York. He worked for Northrop Grumman. And what he was working on is the engineers gave them the LEM and told them, here's all the sensors that we have on the LEM. Here's what we want to know about it, right? Hundreds and hundreds of things they wanted to know on the ground. So he was on a team trying to figure out how are we going to package this stuff up, put it onto carriers, and beam it back to Earth and receive it at one of these stations to where they can take it back apart, send it up to Houston, and have it spread out onto their screen so that they see everything that's going on the vehicle.
Was he your main influence for working at NASA because of all that, or what influenced you to work at NASA? To my knowledge, what we discussed is that a lot of your family worked at NASA, and so this is kind of the thing to do, working at NASA, right? Or explain how that.
Well, I knew he worked at a tracking station, but due to my age, whatever, I was interested in other things. I don't remember how much he told me, but I knew basically what they did, and I didn't expect to ever work there. He just allowed me to slip in as a janitor back when I was 17. Somebody's son or daughter had to do it. It always was. So I got it. So what really influenced me was going back into the technical areas and seeing what they were doing. And it looked so complicated. And I wanted to know what they were doing. I asked questions a lot. So I hung out back there and asked a lot of questions. And I just decided I wanted to do that. So I started into school and I worked my way up so that I ended up back there doing what they were doing, tracking satellites. Okay. Transmitting and receiving signals back.
Okay, so going a little off what we talked about. You said in school, so from high school there was like a provided course for that, or like how did you transition into that? And you said you're a janitor. What role exactly were you?
Exactly. I cleaned the bathrooms, I cleaned the floors, I swept and I mopped, and I helped the facilities craftsmen. We had our own diesel generator section because anytime we were doing any kind of test on Apollo or Shuttle, we did not stay on local power. Everybody had Florida power and light, and our electricians called them Florida Flash and Flicker. So we had our own power. Anytime we came up on any important tests, we switched over to our own power. So I would help those guys, the guy that worked in the diesel generator rooms, air conditioning people, facilities craftsmen. They built things around the site. So I did that in addition to cleaning up. And it gave me a chance to hang around out in the back rooms a lot, you know. And part of that was good. Some people didn't like it because my dad was a boss, but I didn't care. I mean, it was fun, and that's what really influenced me was watching it happen.
That is pretty neat. You're just like there for the experience, and then moved your way into it.
That's right.
That's so
That's right.
neat.